Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're joining us today in today's live lecture coming to you from Nkola Mahadum Wisdom University. Thank you for joining us. We are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, and we are live on Twitter and TikTok. Today's date is Oye Market Day in the Igbo lunar calendar and 2626 in the Roman Catholic calendar. And remember why we are giving you both calendars is for you to know that we, the Igbo people, we, the African people, have our own calendar before the arrival of the colonial masters with their own calendar. And we should go back and make our own calendar, the Igbo lunar calendar, number one, while the Roman Catholic calendar will be the second or forgotten. Remember, at Nkola Mahadum, we always advise you to use your naturally given common sense, which we call akonuche in Igbo language, because we are Igbo-centric, Biafran-centric, and African-centric. We always advise you to see things from how it concerns you, how it concerns your culture, not how it concerns other cultures, because every culture protects their own. And we are advising you to like, comment, and share, and also join us, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and Twitter and TikTok. The title of today's lecture is American Military Presence in Nigeria Will Not Stop Fulani Terrorism, as 170 people were killed in Kwara State. The title of today's lecture is that American military presence in Nigeria will not stop Fulani terrorism, as they killed 170 people in Kwara State just 2 days ago. And many people doesn't know that America have now brought in just few contingents, few military officers into Nigeria to help the Nigerian government to fight this Fulani terrorism rampaging the country. According to Punch newspaper of February the 4th, 2026, the United States has deployed a small team of troops to Nigeria, the first official U.S. military presence on the ground since airstrikes targeted terrorists on Christmas Day in 2025. The deployment of Nigeria follows airstrikes ordered by President Donald Trump in December 2025 on what he described as Islamic State targets in the country. President Trump had also indicated that further U.S. military action in Nigeria could follow. According to Reuters, Reuters reports that the U.S. had been conducting surveillance flights over Nigeria from neighboring Ghana since at least late November 2025, providing intelligence support ahead of the December strikes. So what the Punch newspaper is writing was what the Reuters, that is the Reuters news, is saying, that the American government under Trump had been providing surveillance, that is intelligence support to the Nigerian military since November of 2025, after which the US herself bombed terrorist targets in Sokoto in December 2025. So after that, the United States have now sent a small team. They sent in a small team. That is why we are saying that that small team is not enough to solve the problem of Fulani terrorism in Nigeria. And in addition, according to Reuters, after the Fulani terrorists killed 170 people in Kwara State, Nigeria's president, Bola Tinubu, has deployed an army battalion to Kaima district in central Kwara State after suspected jihadist fighters killed 170 people in an overnight attack. His office said on Thursday, that is yesterday, President Tinubu sent in army battalion to Kaima district in central Kwara as a result of suspected jihadist fighters killed 170 people in an overnight attack. The Tuesday assault on Woro village was the deadliest, the highest this year in the state, in Kwara State. And Kwara State is bordering Niger State, which is a hot spot where Islamic State West Africa, ISWAP, and other armed groups have stepped up village attacks and mass killings. So, you know, they say Islamic State West African province. Sometimes they go by different names. Sometimes you call them bandits. Sometimes you call them ISWAP. Sometimes you call them Lakawaru. Sometimes you call them bandits. All of them have the same mission, which is to Islamize Nigeria. And now they are attacking villages, taking lands, occupying lands. And you know that in the land you see is one of the most important creations. It is under this land you have everything, even on the surface of the land. That is where we do everything. That's where we build houses. That's where we cultivate for agriculture. That's where we preserve as forests. The land itself, the uppermost part of the land that we use every day. We use it as roads. There's water on it. So the land is one of the most important creations. That if you go underneath, that's where you see all the natural resources: gold, diamond, coal, oil. So many things are underground. So when these terrorists are taking lands, they're also taking all the natural resources in that land. That is what we want you to know. And so for the president of Nigeria to be deploying battalion right now, it's like medicine after death. These terrorists have already killed or unalived more than 170 people in Kwara State alone. And then we will just mention to you some other attacks in Nigeria, which included kidnappings. According to Sahara reporters, several Nigerian soldiers were feared dead as Boko Haram attacks army base. So, according to Sahara reporters of today, several Nigerian army soldiers are feared dead after Boko Haram attacks army base. So, Boko Haram have attacked an army base today, and many soldiers are feared dead. Another news by Sahara reporters again today is that Sokoto community deserted after bandits killed village head, chief imam, and others loot homes. Sokoto community deserted. People were running away from a community in Sokoto State as bandits killed village head, the chief imam, and other bandits were looting in that community. These are just the few news today and yesterday and a few days ago. Just the few news and others. Again, according to Sahara reporters again, at least 16 killed, including mobile police commander as terrorists attack Benue State. At least 16 killed, including mobile police commander as terrorists attack Benue State. So this killing or kidnapping for ransom is continuing, is becoming worse. And there's another news. How bandits collected 12 million power bank before releasing Kwara monarch Oniwo of Afin, again by Sahara reporters. So you see a lot of kidnappings, a lot of killings, a lot of destruction of villages going on. It is ongoing, and we are saying that we do not think that this small team of American contingent military that was sent to Nigeria will stop this Fulani terrorism. We don't think so. And that is why we are suggesting that the American government, Trump, they should increase the number of the American troops to Nigeria, as well as increase the number of equipment, military support, military equipment for the Nigerian security forces. They should increase it. This small contingent cannot stop this Fulani terrorism going on everywhere in Nigeria. It cannot. In addition, the American government should put big pressure on the Nigerian government to purge or remove all the repentant Boko Haram and other terrorists which are now recruited into the Nigerian army. They should remove all of them, because even one news after this Kwara State massacre was that the head of that Kwara State community reported to the police, reported to the army about the threats of the Fulani terrorists to attack them. They reported to the army. And because the army had been infiltrated by this Fulani terrorism, they went and notified the terrorists about what the chief did, the chief in that community did. And that was why these Fulani terrorists came and killed this number of people in Kwara State. And so the American government should pressure the Nigerian government to remove all the repentant Boko Haram and terrorists they have now in the Nigerian security forces. That will help to minimize the leaks, the divergence of information to the terrorists. Also, the American government should pressure the Nigerian government to stop this admission of repentant terrorists into the Nigerian security forces. How can you believe that a terrorist is now repented? And that is why Nigerian military have had a lot of sabotage in many of their offense or defense against the terrorists. They should stop admitting terrorists into the Nigerian army as repentant Boko Haram or repentant terrorists. That program should be stopped immediately. Also, what they should do is to arm the indigenous people and the vigilantes for self-defense. Because if you look at it, the communities are not armed. The people are not armed. While the terrorists are armed with sophisticated weapons. How can you challenge somebody with sophisticated weapons with nothing? How can you? That is why these terrorists are succeeding, because the people, the communities, the indigenous people don't have anything to fight back, to defend themselves. That is why they are coming into these communities without fear, because they know already that the communities are already disarmed. Why are we disarming the communities? Why the Fulani terrorists are fully armed? It is wrong. Let us make sure that the people are provided the resources to protect themselves. That is one way to stop this Fulani terrorism ongoing in Nigeria. Also, protect the Nigerian border. Protect the Nigerian border with the Sahel states. You know that in these Sahel states is where this terrorism has been going on for years. Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali have been hotbeds of terrorism. And therefore, Nigeria should protect her border. Seriously protect the border to stop this movement of terrorists across the border at their will. It is wrong. We should protect the border. Also, the Nigerian government should withdraw all the military people, all the army they have in the eastern region of Nigeria, including the southeast. They should withdraw all the army and take them to the north. Take them to the north, where you have these Fulani terrorists, killing people, kidnapping, seizing land, doing all kinds of things. Why should we keep this army in the eastern region where we have relative peace? It's not that the Fulani terrorists are not attacking. They are also attacking the area, but not at the magnitude they are attacking in the north. If you cannot withdraw all of them, at least remove at least 50 to 75% of them, of the army in the former eastern region, especially the southeast. Remove those armies and send them to the north. Finally, introduce referendum. Introduce referendum for the people, because we all know how Nigeria came to be Nigeria. From 1884, 1885 Berlin Conference, where African land was partitioned, to amalgamation of 1914 by Lord Lugard, And so we have been living our lives. So they should introduce referendum for people to decide where they want to belong to. These are just some of the solutions we are profiling, we are suggesting to stop this Fulani terrorism rampaging Nigeria. And so what we are saying is that America sending small team of military people into Nigeria to help Nigerian military will not solve the problem. It will not solve the problem, as 170 people were killed just a few days ago in Kwara State. And the military have been there. The American help have been there. But this terrorism is continuing without, being stopped. And you can see, for people who don't know, according to Punch newspaper of February the 4th, that the United States had deployed a small team. They deployed a small team of troops to Nigeria. And this is the first official U.S. military presence on the ground since airstrikes targeted terrorists on Christmas Day in 2025. And before this U.S. military came, the United States had been helping the Nigerian army since November last year. And then the bombing of the terrorists in Sokoto on Christmas Day of 2025. And now the deployment of this small team of U.S. military into the Nigerian army to help Nigeria. And that's why we are saying that it's not enough. This small team of American US military will not solve the problem, because the problem is expanding, you know. And after the killing in Kwara State, according to Reuters News, Nigeria's president, Bola Tinubu, has deployed an army battalion to Kayama district in central Kwara State after suspected fighters killed 170 people in an overnight attack, his office said on Thursday. The Tuesday assault on Woro village was the deadliest this year in the state, bordering Niger, a hot spot where Islamic State, West African province, and other armed groups have stepped up village attacks and mass kidnappings. So remember, these attacks is all over the north, in Bonodu, in Yobe, in Sokoto, in Benue, all over the place. And now, President Tinubu ascending battalion now is like medicine after death. 170 people is already killed. And when 170 people are killed, some people are calling it genocide. It is more than genocide. Because here at Nkolomohadum, human beings are sacred. We are redefining genocide to mean anytime you kill more than 5 people at a time, it is genocide. Human life should be protected and not killed the way it is being killed. So killing 170 people is more than genocide. It shouldn't allow to happen. It should not have happened. So by Tinubu sending in the military now, is like medicine after that. And remember, the military will not cover everywhere. Nigeria don't have enough military to protect all the areas that they're supposed to protect. That's why these terrorists are having their way, you know? And before the killing in Kwara State, there have been several things going on. If you are listening to the news, you will see that a lot of things have been going on. And we'll just give you a few examples of what had been going on. According to Sahara reporters of today, several Nigerian soldiers feared death as Boko Haram attacks army base. This is not the first time they are attacking army base. They have been attacking many army bases in Nigeria, killing Nigerian army and capturing their weapons. Another news from Sahara reporters, Sokoto community deserted, that is, they are running away after bandits killed village head, chief imam, and others. They loot their homes. This is in Sokoto State. Another news by Sahara reporters of yesterday, how bandits collected 12 million naira power bank before releasing Kwara monarch Oniwo of Afin. You see, this idea of kidnapping is going on everywhere, both in Biafra land, both in Yoruba land, both all over Nigeria. They are kidnapping and making millions and millions of naira from kidnapping. And that is one reason, again, why this terrorism will not stop, because many of these terrorists have become billionaires. They have become billionaires from kidnapping. How then do you expect them to stop? How do you expect them to stop? Now, another news that we'll give you is at least 16 killed, including police commander, as terrorists attack Benue State. So this you hear all the time in Nigeria. This is ongoing in Nigeria. That is why we are saying that this small team of American military that was sent is not enough. It's not enough to solve the problem. What we are suggesting to the Trump administration and to the Nigerian government is to increase the number. America should increase the number of their military and also the military equipment they are bringing in. Increase it. That will help to stop it. This small contingent that you just sent will not, it's like dropping a drop of water in an ocean. It's not going to do anything. Increase the number. We are also suggesting that all the repentant Boko Haram, all the repentant terrorists, which were admitted into the Nigerian army, should be sacked immediately. They should be purged. They should be removed immediately. The American government should pressure the Nigerian government to remove all those repentant terrorists that they admitted into the Nigerian security forces, because they are the one leaking the army's plan, the security's plan against the terrorists. They are all working hand in hand. In addition, the Nigerian government should arrest and prosecute all the sponsors of the terrorists, all those sponsoring terrorism, all those sponsoring this Fulani terrorism in Nigeria should be arrested and prosecuted. If you don't arrest and prosecute those sponsoring the terrorists, how will it stop? You have to arrest and prosecute those sponsoring the terrorists. And also, how does these terrorists manage their money? The government should also look into the banks. What is going on in the banks? Because these terrorists have bank accounts. They have bank accounts. If not, how are they, using this money? These are some of the suggestions that we are making. In addition, the government should arm the people to protect themselves. Self-defense is enshrined in the United Nations and African Charter. And even just common sense will tell you that if you don't have protection in the world we have today, you will be killed. So let us arm the people. You cannot disarm the people and expect them to be able to confront or challenge or stop these terrorists. People should be armed for self-defense, both the indigenous people and the vigilantes. The government, in addition, also should protect the Nigerian border. Protect the Nigerian border with the Sahel states. You know that the Sahel states, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, are hotbeds of terrorism. This terrorism has been going on there for years. And now that these states are flushing them out, they are coming into Nigeria. Therefore, the borders have to be protected, seriously protected. And then, finally, withdraw all the military in the former eastern region of Nigeria. Withdraw them, because you don't have much crime in the eastern part of Nigeria like that compared to what is going on in the north right now. The insecurity, the terrorism, the kidnapping, the killing, the sacking of villages that is going on in the north now is so much that you have to put all your resources, and part of your resources, you are leaving them in the eastern region of Nigeria, especially the southeastern region of Nigeria. You leave them there doing what? Why they are needed in the north. Also, provide referendum for the people to decide, because we all know how Nigeria came to be. Nigeria came to be from the 1884 to 1885, Berlin Conference, where Europeans divided the land of Africa to themselves, and Britain have to get this area called Nigeria, and they amalgamated Nigeria, the southern and the north, in 1914. We all know the history, and as you can see, the country is not being managed well. There's no coherence. There's different value system. There's no, reunity. So provide referendum as enshrined in also in the UN and African Charter. It's right there. So these are the suggestions we are making for the Nigerian government and the American government if they are serious in stopping this Fulani terrorism rampaging all over Nigeria. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. Please like, comment, and share. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel by pressing the bell button so that anytime we provide a new lecture, you're going to be the first to get it. Thank you very much for joining me and have a good day. Share, share, share. Thank you.